Chinese British filmmaker. His name is.
Chi Kyung Chung.
Did we get it right?
That's correct. Yes, you got
Hello,
it right. Yes.
we got the name right.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, good. So we'll start straight away. You just made a movie, Son of the Soil, that has gone round festivals, and I see that you are attending the Africa Film Festival. You put the
Yes.
movie in for Best of Nollywood, and it has, I think, 2 nominations or three. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, we had
How does
7 nominations,
you
I
are
believe. 7
okay?
nominations. Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me, what's your interest in Nigerian movies,
Oh,
and how
sorry.
did it start? How did
Oh,
you find?
how did it start? It's the original. So the main actor is Razak Adoti. He's a British Nigerian actor. He's been in films such as Black Hawk Down, Armistad, and we had worked together on a action film in the UK. And we were just talking about next projects, and someone mentioned to me about Nollywood. They said, a producer in LA said, "Chi, can I give you a bit of advice?" And said, "Sure, I'd love some advice." And he said, "Nollywood. You know much about Nollywood?" And I said, "Not much, but I'm really interested." And he said, "A lot of people are trying to make films there in terms of externally trying to make things in." And so I was like, "Okay, this is an interesting adventure, interesting challenge." And so it kind of evolved from there, really. That was kind of the starting point of then seeing if we could come into Nigeria and make a film. So, and that was the start. I wanted to make an action film that could hopefully work in Nigeria and across Africa as well, and also internationally.
So tell me, what's your before you shot your movie? Did you try to watch a lot of Nigerian movies to have an idea of what the audience like?
Yeah. Yes,
So
absolutely.
out of the
Yeah.
ones you watched, which one fascinated you most?
So some of the things that I was looking at was things like Black Book, Brotherhood, Gangs of Lagos. I think those were kind of quite really interesting in terms of kind of visceral films, and I guess from a kind of an action level as well. And so that was kind of the starting point. And then it was about looking at the locations, like really kind of understanding. I hadn't really been to Nigeria. I had never been to Nigeria, so it was my first time. So we kind of came in, planned and prepped the film, and then we just started shooting. So we to some degree, it was this kind of element of, I think, sometimes you can kind of keep talking a lot, and I was like, let's just go there, let's take a camera, let's just go film.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you, what fascinated you most about working with Nigerians and shooting in Nigeria?
Sorry, say it again. Sorry.
You didn't get that? I said, what fascinated you most about working in Nigeria and shooting with Nigerian crew members? I'm sure your crew was not totally British. You actually work with some Nigerians.
Yeah. So actually, the only should we say kind of like foreigners, I guess, was myself as the director of the film, and then we had one DOP who was from the UK, and we had one other production person on the ground with us that was from the UK. The rest was all Nigerian cast and crew. And so we really was collaborating with them. We had a local producer on the ground who helped us build the team as well. We spent 3 to 4 weeks, just really meeting crew, interviewing, kind of understanding the sensibilities, different actors, and just really building it like in any other way that I would build a film. Reshaping the script as well, depending on what we had available, what resources. But I wanted to make something big. I wanted to make something kind of like, it was very independent, but something that had scale. So it was about trying to film on the streets. We filmed in Idiaraba, we filmed Bariga, we filmed in Ikarudu as well. So it was quite expansive. We filmed on trains. We filmed kind of like really on the streets as well. That was something that was kind of really, I really wanted to kind of do. And kind of navigating that was also an experience. But yeah, it was bringing people together, different communities, putting some of the local people in the film as extras as well, and training them how to fight. And we tried to kind of make it as hopefully real as possible.
Okay. Before I know Tommy is inchy to bombard you with one or two questions.
Bombard.
But before Tommy does that, I'd like to ask you, how was it? Did you try Nigerian food? Did you have an experience of Nigerian area boy shooting in Lagos?
Yes, we did, and we actually ended up putting the Error Boys in. I remember kind of when we were shooting the scene, in terms of each area where I was asked to go and meet the ballets, meet the chiefs, and pay our respects. And then we went to meet the area boys, and then we were kind of talking to them, and we said, hey, do you want to be in the film? So we kind of put them in the film, and that was kind of something which I think kind of was kind of great because we needed kind of really kind of authentic, and they were great. I was very fortunate they were helping us with just kind of actually been very helpful. Like they were kind of helping us move things around, and they were like helping us to kind of when we wanted to clear areas, and it was quite collaborative. They were kind of chanting some of the lines from the films as well, and it was a really kind of special experience. And because I mean, in terms of going into some of these areas as an outsider, I was like, "This looks great. Can we film here?" And like, oh, okay, we do, and I was like, well, there's so much kind of as a director, I'm looking at locations, but I'm also kind of like, there's some, I guess, kind of shocking images, maybe some dark images, but also like some really beauty. There's kind of the beauty in the elements. So I think we're kind of looking at how to kind of capture that on camera, and I think what better than to kind of to work with the locals. So there was lots of non-actors that we put in the film. We had also had some established actors and up and coming actors, but the people, a lot of day players on the streets, we would try to get them involved.
Okay. So I know that every film industry in the world has its own peculiarities. Nigeria has its peculiarities. The Chinese industry has its own. What were the things that you had to learn to come into the Nigerian film industry? I mean, to work in the Nigerian film industry. What were the lessons that you had to draw from that would work here? Based on our peculiarities.
I think there were kind of different kind of approaches. One thing I started learning was Nigeria time. That was something I kind of started kind of really kind of understanding about. Maybe the time is not necessarily always the time. So that was one thing. But also I think one of the things that what I tried to kind of do as an outsider, again, I guess because coming in, what I tried to kind of do is not. I like to kind of come in, I like to kind of listen, I like to try and kind of study and kind of meet people and talk to people about kind of how do we approach this. And I think that was something at the start, which was kind of really key, was how can we, what's the kind of sense of like the rhythm and the pace? And so there were some locations where we would be, we would plan, and then things hadn't quite go to plan. And then I started kind of realizing that actually, there's a level of kind of going with the flow. I think there's like a level of like this kind of independent spirit where you're like, okay, it's good. It's like, if it's not working, let's just adapt. So I think there was this constant sense of adapting.
It's fluid, yeah.
But also like I think it's like I remember I was saying this kind of sequence, and we were shooting and we were kind of going, okay, we have like this KK chase through the streets, and I was like, can we do we reserve them now? So we book them, and they said, if you book them now in 3 weeks time, then the person's not going to be available. So you're kind of building things on the day, and then you're kind of going, okay, how can I, what can I do? Where can I film? What streets can I film? Where can we, how do we elevate? But I think trying to kind of work with the community, I think that was kind of what was kind of really key. But I think in terms of other lessons, I think it was kind of really about, I think that the collaboration was really key. I felt like we had a great cinematographer as well, who was from the UK, who really got in and was kind of part of. But I think one of the things with film is it has this amazing ability to bring people together. I think it's whatever it is, you bring a camera and everyone's eyes light up, and people kind of like just running around on the streets, and the children on the streets, and whenever we came in, people would kind of greet us in the morning, and it would be really special, and they would kind of. I was hearing from several people that they really missed us when we left, and we would shoot these big sequences on the streets, like action sequences, and people would line up on the streets and they'd be applauding and cheering. And then we'd be like, "Hey, do you want to be in the film?" They're like, "We'd love to be in the film." So, just stand over here, and you can kind of, and that kind of really helped make the film for us kind of bigger as well in scale.
Okay.
And then I think then it was about, so there were different things like, but then also I think kind of things like there's a lot of traffic and sound and noise. So you're trying to kind of adapt as well. But I think we were filming in people's homes. We were kind of filming in kind of like on trains, and we were filming on the streets. And then we were having the police with us as well. And then we said, "Oh, we want to shoot this sequence." I remember doing this vehicle chase. And the police were like, "Hey, do you want us to kind of clear this for you?" And we were like, "Oh, well, if you don't mind." And it was, I think it was a kind of like really this independent spirit of like, let's just get things done. And I think that's what was something I found in Nigeria was this heart of not complaining and not like, "Oh, it can't be done." And it was just like, "What do you need? Let's make it happen." And I think at the start, I think when I was making the film, I remember some of the early conversations with some of the crew, and they would say, the director, he's God, and he's like, he's like king, and I was like, "Look, I'm just a man. Like, I just want to make something, and we want to kind of come together to make something together." And
one
how
last
can you
question
kind of help? And
for
I'd
me.
love your input on it.
One last
So
question for
I
me
think that
before we
collaboration
let you
element
just
was
go.
key.
What do you think? What quality do you think makes Nollywood films the most marketable at this point in our history? Can you hear me?
Okay, so before we let you just go,
Okay, can you hear me now?
okay, can you hear me now?
Did you hear my
Can you hear my
question?
question?
Oh, I can hear. Sorry, I didn't hear that question. Sorry, you froze a little bit there.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So what
So what
quality do
quality
you
do you
think
think
makes
makes
Nollywood
Nollywood
most
most
marketable
marketable
now
now
at this point in our history as a filmmaking country? What quality do you think makes us the most marketable?
I think it's a mixture of things. I think there's so I had a chance to work with some amazing actors. I think you've got some really great talent. I think we worked with.
Do you want to mention some names?
Sorry.
Do you want to mention some names of the amazing talents?
That you have worked
I
with or
think
seen?
like Damilola, we worked with. I think you call him Goldfish. He was kind of really, really interesting. We worked with Yvette Doyle,
Okay.
Patient Ozokwo as well. Was
Wow.
kind of
Okay.
Mama G. We had in the film. Tay Arimo as well. I mean, so it was kind of really like a mix. But then we also had like a little girl who had never acted before, and so this was her first film, and I was really pleased that the Best in Hollywood awards have kind of she's being nominated as Best Young Actress, Child Actress. And she was just like at a school, and we just went and did some open auditions, and we're like, "Hey, and Sunshine Lossman as well. We have Sharon Rotimi as well. So yeah, quite kind of eclectic kind of mix of talent, and so I think kind of the talent is really. I think that was something that was really great. I think talent that can work in Nollywood films, but also work in international films. I think that was a feeling. But also I think kind of just in terms of meeting the filmmakers and I think there's great talent here. So I think
All right, all right. Thank you so much. We don't really have time again. But before you go, I want to ask you one question. I'm sure that before you came to Nigeria, you must have heard a lot of things, read a lot about a lot of negative things that are in the media. What is your own impression about Nigeria now? You've worked in Nigeria, you've worked with Nigerian people. What is your impression of Nigerians now?
In 1 minute,
In
1 second.
in 10 seconds, what's your impression of Nigerians?
For me, it's the amazing people. I think kind of a really good sense of family, community. I think I hope that with this film, Son of the Soil, which we're releasing 21st of November across African cinemas, that it can show that the potential of collaboration. I think that's the kind of the hope. I think there's some really great crews. There's great people behind camera, front of camera, and I think yes, there is sadly a lot of negative views, but actually we had so much positivity around the making of this film.
All right. Thank you so much. We wish you all the best. We'll be at your premiere and we will be pushing for you when the movie comes out on Friday, 21st of November, because we want you to come back and do more and more. And that can only happen if this is a success. Thank you so much, Mr.
Chung.
I hope I didn't murder your name too much. We'll keep the conversation on offline between us. Thank you for coming on the program.